You need at least 6 months of use of a knife to know if it's good. I know, guys, I don't know who comes up with this crap. Cue the intro. Sorry guys, you might be wondering what the hell that comment was all about. Well, let's give you a little bit of backstory here. A while back I did a video on one of my knives that I did, and I got a comment from a viewer who I eventually ended up blocking. But they were arguing with me, saying that I needed to at least use a bushcraft knife for a good 6 months before I could make a decision whether it was good or not. Now, my response to him was basically, well, I had been around knives long enough to know what works for me and what doesn't, and what I'll like and what I don't. And the person continued on talking about how I don't know anything and blah 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 blah. So I blocked them and kicked them out, and I just never spoke to them. And the worst thing about it was I was actually a subscriber to his channel as well, but I don't have time for people who are being arrogant. So that said, I went out and I got myself a knife. Here it is. And we are going to go ahead and open this up. We're going to try it for the first time, and I'm going to review it, and I'm going to give you my thoughts on it. Now, what is this knife, you say? Well, let's bring it in a little closer and we'll take a look. So here we go, guys. Let's open her up. I haven't taken this knife out yet. I just removed it from the shipping packaging, and that's it. So here we go. We've got a Mora Garberg. Let's open her up, see what's inside, and we'll talk about it a little bit, and I'll give you my thoughts before we go into any of the work. So, Jesus, mosquitoes are crazy. All right, so we've got the knife with what seems to be a, so you can carry it as a belt knife, and this thing is some kind of retaining strap. All right, looks cool. Okay, that's how it comes off. We'll put that there. Let's see what else is in the box. All right, and we got the multi-mount with some kind of strapping here. So the knife. Whew. There we go. I got the stainless steel model, only because I wanted to have a stainless steel knife. Now you've got this pommel on the back end, quite sharp. I definitely wouldn't be whacking the back of that with my hand, that's for sure. 90-degree spine, feels insanely sharp. We'll test that out in a little bit. And if you take a look at that edge, whoops, where are we here? No flat spots, which is good. And it does feel quite sharp all over. Let's see if it'll shave. Yep. Shaving sharp right out of the box. So for today's purposes, we're not going to go too much into the multi-mount. I am going to attach just the belt loop on there. We're going to hang that from my belt. We're going to use it just as a belt knife. But when I saw a lot of reviews on this, I looked at the knife and I was like, wow, looks like a really good functional knife, but I do see some flaws on it. Before I even held one in my hand, and you saw, I just held it in my hand for the first time. Now, what are the flaws that I see with this? Well, I've seen people do everything from carving to food prep to a bunch of things, and I don't want to go bashing on this knife, but this isn't an all-purpose knife. There's no such thing. Get that out of your head. Let's talk about it real quick. Now, from what I saw, there could be a problem or a hindrance in its use is a few things. Number one is the 90-degree spine. If you are a big carver and you like to do carving, I like to carve a lot and you use a lot of push cuts, this is going to cut into your thumb. There's no other way around it. If you've done a lot of carving, you know that this will cut into your thumb slightly on a really sharp 90-degree spine. Most real dedicated carving knives have rounded off spines to make it much more comfortable for your fingers. That's my first issue. The second issue is what I saw on the in another video. They were talking about, you know, the retention strap that goes along on there. I think the longevity of that retention strap is going to be short-lived because of this sharp spine. As it's moving around, it's going to end up cutting into that leather. And I've seen a lot of people do food prep with this. Now, anybody who's been around different types of grinds, Scandi grinds are not the best for food prep. You can have a crazy sharp knife, but it will not push through a carrot or a potato or any other vegetable or a tomato as well as a flat grind will. Flat grinds are in kitchens. That's why they're used, is because they slice through materials with the least amount of friction. That's why people use those. So if you are not a heavy wood processor in the woods and you like to do a lot of carving and that kind of thing, this may not be the best suited knife for you to pick up. That's it. Scandi grinds are badass for wood processing. They're good for batoning. They're good for carving even, and shaping wood. So that should be a good plus. Now, all of this, I know this is also marketed as a survival knife. I disagree. I think it is more of a bushcraft knife, because a survival knife tend to be used for stabbing, for a bunch of other applications than just processing wood and things like that. Now, that's part of the issue, is a survival knife should also be used as a fighting tool. Now, usually a fighting tool will have a swedge, which allows for more penetration and whatnot. When you look at this knife, yes, it does have a little bit of a, I don't know what you call that, a clip point or whatever it is, a little drop point on there, but this is more designed for, with that rounded belly on there, it'd be better for skinning. With the Scandi grind, it's going to be better for wood processing and that kind of thing. But enough of the talking. Let's just find some wood and start cutting shit up. let's get to it. Now, I got this nice little branch here, and let's see how she carves. Let's just get ready. So I chose a piece of dry, hard seasoned beech to get some carving notches in there, just to see how it was going to handle in this kind of really hard wood, and it did pretty good, all things considered. But a Scandi grind also has its limitations. It's not really great at push cuts. It'll go in a certain amount, but it won't go in too far before the wedge starts causing friction on the entry of your blade. But I'll show you what we got done here. So we got done a quick number 7 notch. We did those little log cabin notches, a little square out block there, you know, like a half moon, whatever you want to call it. We got done a nice pot hanger, and I was able to get inside that hole quite nicely, so it would hang quite nice. And then I just kind of carved out this round little dowel. Handled all those real nice, with no issues really, to be honest. right through a nasty knot. Those feather sticks on the side there, and let's see how this 90-degree spine works. Oh man, that's beautiful. Now that's more fluffy and easier to catch a spark than any feather stick I've ever made. That's why I love these guys. So basically we'll scrape off a small pile of these. Sorry guys, I'm gonna go ahead and collect some smalls. I don't know how much longer I could take these mosquitoes. They're really starting to drive me crazy. I put on the bug spray and they're just kind of like, psh, sucker, you're dead. And that's it, they're all over me. So I'm gonna go collect some smalls. We'll kick a spot clear here, and we'll get a quick fire going, and I got a steak to cook. Let's have a look at how this is going to strike a ferro rod. I have a Nathan 4071 right here, the Kong again with me today. This thing. This thing sparks a ferro rod better than any knife I've ever used. I did collect some birch bark on the way in. It's in my pocket. We're not going to use it. Now guys, a ferro rod. Nathan makes great ferro rods, but a ferro rod is only as good as a striker. If you got a crappy striker, it's not going to work. So what we have here is a bundle of hemlock twigs, basically smalls, and we're going to see if we can light these directly with the ferro rod. Now I know Nathan has one of the best ferro rods in the game, and this Garberg has one of the nicest spines I've ever seen. Almost. There we go. This thing is freaking awesome. There we go. That didn't take very long at all. Whew. So, finally some relief from those mosquitoes. The edge retention is actually pretty good. I don't know, after all of everything that we've done today, if it'll still shave hair. I got some spots that'll still work, but I purposely, yeah, you can see there, I purposely went out of my way to use the whole blade. You would see that I was choking up quite high up on the blade for some of the scissor cuts, that kind of thing, or lever cuts, and it does heavy removal fantastic. It does medium to medium fine quite well. When I'm talking about fine carving, I'm talking about wood spirits and things like that, and you can't do that with this kind of knife, not in really fine detail. You got to keep in mind that all blades have their limitations, and they're designed for certain things, and there's reasons for that. It does remove wood quite well. It batons amazing for considering it's not a really thick blade. It looks like it's I don't know, like maybe 5/32 maybe. Looks something like that. A little bit over an eighth maybe. This is more of a carving and camp task knife, and if you're looking for something that's going to be decent for many purposes around camp, this will do it. Will it do food prep and fine carving and things like that? It absolutely will be. It will, but it won't be the best thing for it. This is a wood carving machine. It will remove material and get your fire prep done, and the way that spine is designed, I think out of all things, it would be a fire prep knife. I think that's pretty much what it's designed for, what I would say, with that 90-degree spine and the Scandi grind and all that. I don't understand why they even bother putting the pommel on there. I don't see myself using that for anything really. So that brings us back to the question: can we or can we not tell if a knife is going to be good before 6 months of use? And I've been at it for an hour and 15 minutes, and I would highly recommend this knife to anybody looking to buy their first or second or third or fourth bushcraft knife. It's just a good knife all the way around. It does what it says it's going to do. It processes wood quite well. It seems to be sturdy build. I mean, I split up knotty seasoned dry beech, and there was no punk in that wood either. That was some really hard wood, and it took it like a champ. It was just sending those pieces flying, and I can't say much more about that. It was performed great all the way around. So let's get that steak on the fire. There we go, guys. Another dirty steak to eat. Got some prime rib going on today, and looks like we're gonna have to go with the Canadian tripod technique again. Oh man, look at that. All right, guys. Time for some final thoughts. Comfort of the handle, this thing's awesome. Definitely does what I needed to. It didn't give me any hot spots. We did a lot of carving, a lot of batoning, you name it, we did it. Pretty much everything but chopping today. And no food prep, but we did some really hard, tough carving with this guy today. I was whittling away while I was waiting for the food to get ready. The 90-degree spine is a plus and a minus. If you like to carve and you use lever cuts, it is going to mash up your thumb a little bit. You can get away by that. If you want to be able to strike a ferro rod, which this thing does amazing, and give yourself maybe the first inch or so, or inch and a half of blade here, and then round out the rest of it for your lever cuts, and you won't have to deal with your thumb getting chewed up by that 90-degree spine. That's awesome. It scrapes wood real well, and it scrapes a ferro rod insane, as you saw. The edge retention on this guy is quite good. From what I do understand, it is an upgrade on the steel, so it makes it a decent, an even better version of what the Mora was doing before. Now, there does seem to be a bit of a micro bevel on there. I will most likely be cleaning that off and going right to a zero grind Scandi, just to be, just because I find I can work better with those than I can with the micro bevel on there. However, the micro bevel will make that edge more durable, and it'll allow it to take more of a beating. So all in all, let's get back to that original question. Does this knife Can you tell if a knife is going to be good with less than 6 months of use? The answer is yes. I knew the answer was going to be like that too. I gave this guy a pretty good work over today. It took me about an hour and 20 minutes. We did fire prep. We did a whole bunch of different carvings. I don't know what Morse Cancy called it, a tri-stick or something. You know, you put a whole bunch of notches into a branch. I didn't choose any soft wood. I went with all hardwood to really give this guy a good workout, and wound up with a pretty impressive results. It's not great for push cuts, but again, Scandies aren't great for push cuts. Flat grinds are much better, I find, for push cuts, because they're narrower and there's less geometry to fight with to get in there. But the angles just seem to be suited for it. But all things considered, is this a great knife? I believe it is. If you have something like this, a chopper and a saw, you've got all your cutting tasks taken care of. So there you have it, guys, the Mora Garberg. We got some fire prep done with it. We got some, got a stick carved full of notches with it. Lit a fire with it. Tested it out on other things just to see how well the back of that spine was going to be. It did a great job in all areas, and I would definitely highly recommend this knife. Now, all things considered, for that price point, I've heard people complain about the price, saying, "Oh, geez, it's just a Mora." Well, Mora really upgraded that spine. We did that steel. We did I did a bunch of feather sticks. I did some batoning. I did some we'll call it very light chopping, I guess we'll say. I took a small branch just like this and just kind of hacked away at it. It was off camera, but needless to say, it was just to see how it would chop and go through things. And after all that work, all that batoning, all the feather sticking, all the scraping, all the carving, it was still hair popping sharp. So all things considered, I can't complain about it. And then when I took off my belt and just gave it a quick light strop, it brought it back to almost as good as it was when we started. Almost. So you want to talk about a very decent knife for the money, and can you figure out if a knife is going to be good before 6 months of use? Absolutely. This guy is a great little knife, and I would recommend this to anybody starting out, or anybody looking for a knife as a good solid backup that they can throw on the bottom of their pack or attached to the front of their pack with the multi-mount. Good all-around piece of kit, guys. So just want to thank you guys for watching. Or appreciate your views and appreciate your time, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Get out and explore. I'm Mark from Adventure Time Outdoors. Hey guys, if you like this review, why don't you try checking out one of my other knife reviews? And if you haven't already, please subscribe.